Hello, everybody, and welcome to the YouTube channel, The Big Black American Secret. My name is Daniel Jackson, and today I want to talk to you about genetics. Now, that's not a subject I spent a whole lot of time on, except for the last couple of days, because I was having a conversation with someone who basically was real, not stuck, but very, on the point of, all black people come out of Africa, based on the mass migration theories and all that. And I was trying to explain to this person, that from my research, all black life did not originate in Africa. All black life, specifically black life, and the original, we are the original men and women on this whole planet. Started on every continent, all about the same time. But that person's mindset and theory was stuck there. I mean, it's like fixed on it. So with more communication and communicating with this person, it boiled down to this. We both agreed that black life was on every continent. Undeniable, black people are on every continent. This person, black people started in Africa and migrated to all those other places millions of years ago. Okay, and of course, what I just explained to you is that theory don't sit too well with me, because if life, and here's my thinking, if life started in Africa, why couldn't it have started on every other landmass? Africa has the same environment as every other continent. Air, water, soil, atmosphere, the land masses probably came up out of the primordial waters around about the same time, give or take maybe a few hundred, maybe a few thousand years, who knows. But on each landmass, it produces vegetation first and then mammal life, because of course the mammals, most of them are going to eat the vegetation, you see. And of course we are mammals. So my understanding is it's almost kind of like, if millions of years ago, the landmass you're on, you're stuck on that landmass because of the water. Millions of years ago, you didn't have boats. You understand what I'm saying? That water was big. You trapped on that island. But I can't say 100%. Who knows? There may have been vessels, but we're just gonna go with the fact, but not the fact, but the understanding is landmass. So technically, most black people agree. Well, you got three sets. You got the people who believe the out of Africa theory, the other people who are like me, who believe that indigenous life is all indigenous life started on each continent around about the same time, and then you got that third group where it's undecided. Okay, now, so I said, you know what? Technically, either theory could be right. So let's boil it down to the bare necessities. What's the bottom line support for the out of Africa theory? And here's what I come up with. And I took about 2 days off to study genetics. Now, here's what I found out. The oldest known African fossils attributed to a member of the Homo sapien family is 2.8 million years old, and it was the jawbone of an Ethiopian. So 2.8 million year old jawbone of a human was found in Ethiopia. So that would lead people to believe that those are the oldest bones found in the world. So life must have started on that continent, right? Makes perfect sense. Except for these couple of facts that I'm finna give to you. Here in America, because I'm going to be talking specifically about Africa and America, but here in America, the theory is that America was unoccupied until the migrations and stuff like that. So there's the scientists or paleontologists found some bones in a little town. I think Clovis was the name of the town, so they call this Clovis First migration of Mongolian breed of Asians that come across the land bridge connecting America and Asia. So those are a Mongolian breed of Asian, and they so-called the first Indians who occupied the Americas. That was the first solid theory on the people who were here. So no other people before them, right? So, and that's about 12,000 years ago. Now, the Smithsonian Institute, and I believe that's in Chicago, the secretary of the Smithsonian, he wrote a paper, and I remember reading this paper a few years ago, and I've been trying to find it the last couple of days, but he was not happy with people excavating going further than 12,000 years. He was completely happy with the savage Indian situation with the Clovis first thing. As a matter of fact, any archaeologists who found stuff in different places that were older than the Clovis, they got ridiculed. Projects weren't funded. They were made fun of. It was a lot of resistance. And the reason is, if the Mongolian breed of Asians occupied America first, it supports the racist white supremacist theory, of course, that white people are superior. The Mongolian Indians was here first, and it just supports the whole lie that they've been telling us, right? Now, so the oldest bones in Africa, people are allowed to dig down 2 million years into the ground. But here in America, you're only allowed to dig 12,000 years. You see the problem? That's the hole in that theory of genetics. You are not allowed to dig deeper here in America or South America, because those folks know you're going to find black people's bones. They already know who was here when they came. They have no delusions. They have to spin the lie of that America was unoccupied or barely occupied, and Christopher Columbus came here. This is the New World. This North and South America is very old. This is the continent they say they have mammal, like the woolly mammoth bones on. All of these things. This is a very old continent. And the people who were here are very old people. In fact, you and me are the people who were here. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, if you're following the genetics as it's what supports your theory that all black people came out of Africa, there's a big hole in that theory. And the hole is, in America, they do not allow you to dig down deep 2 million years, because we know what you're going to find. You're going to find our people's remains. You understand what I'm saying? So the out of Africa theory is furthermore debunked. You understand? So and two, and that's one debunk. Now two, if you just think about it, if human life can start in Africa on that landmass, then why can't it start on every other landmass in and about the same time? Because that's probably exactly what happened. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the reason we all look slightly different. We don't all look exactly the same, but we all are melanated. We're all black people. We're all people of the sun. The sun is what gives us energy. The sun gives us vitamin D. The reason we get the cold and flu, go through a cold and flu season every year, we get sick for the same reason leaves fall off the tree during the winter. When the sun goes further and further away from the earth, there's less vitamin D that our bodies get. So our immune systems are weaker, causing us to get colds and flus. You understand what I'm saying? So, so every landmass gets that sun, gets the water and the minerals in the soil, just like Africa. You see what I'm saying? So white people gave us the out of Africa theory, and they have been pushing propaganda in that direction the whole time. You understand what I'm saying? They don't mind you digging all day long in Africa. They'll let you dig over in Egypt and by them pyramids till you blue in the face. They're comfortable. They know that was a black continent. Hell, there's statues and black people on the wall. It's undeniable. But guess what? In South America, we have pyramids older, larger, and better built than any pyramid in Africa. You understand what I'm saying? And using LiDAR technology in 2016, they found 60,000 new structures. You know what I'm saying? So our people are a very, man, we so ancient and knowledgeable, and it's so much you got to know about yourself. But first we got to get off this lie. Now the people who believe the out of Africa theory, they also say that if you don't believe the out of Africa theory, then it's just self-hate. You know, you hate your blackness. You know, you wanna you wanna be white. No, that ain't it at all. The reason I reject the out of Africa theory is because there's holes in it, and it's based on racism, white supremacy. That theory was given to you by your colonizer. That's the one strike. Two, Ethiopian bones 2.8 million years ago. So if somebody was allowed to dig down that far in Africa, but they don't allow you digging here in America. So you're not comparing apples to apples. You understand? If you go down to 2.8 million years ago here in America, you're going to find melanated bones and artifacts and stuff like that. So, you know, so see, strike two. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, the reason it's important to me that I not only know that this is our homeland, it's important that everybody else understand that the landmass where your people are from is where you from. You know what I'm saying? No hating on my melanated brothers from Africa. You know, we all brothers and sisters. We all melanated brothers and sisters. We look different because we're different. You know what I'm saying? Now, all you have to do is take a look at the people in Australia. The Australian people did not migrate from Africa to Australia. No, that landmass created black Aboriginal Australians. That's why they look the way they look. They have strong features. They have the woolly hair, you know. And white people have you think that they blended with some Neanderthals millions of years ago, but that didn't happen because Neanderthals didn't even exist. That's the big ass bullshit lie for white people to say that they genes came from some other, you know, creatures. No, white people are no more than albinos. Two blue-black Africans can give birth to a white baby, an albino baby. During the Ice Age, when you had all of the, you know, the albinism going on, you know, two black people giving, or two melanated people giving birth to an albino child. When you have the Ice Age, you have less sunlight. It's you blocking the sun. That's why it's cold and the shit is freezing. So therefore, you have less vitamin D, which means the melanated people are going to have health problems. They're going to die off sooner. But the people, the albinos, it works just opposite for them. You're blocking the sun. They become stronger. They start to multiply. You understand what I'm saying? And a lack of vitamin D also fucks with your bones for melanated people. But it does just the opposite for albinos, causing them to probably be a little taller. You see what I'm saying? The science is there, but we've been misdirected to look at it, not look at it, to just go by their bullshit theories. You know what I'm saying? We have to shake ourselves. Anything that white people taught us, we have to look at that shit sideways. We have to examine that shit from every angle, because their slant is white supremacy. If it benefits the system of racism, white supremacy, they're going to run with it. But if it benefits the system of racism, white supremacy, it's going to work against you. It's going to keep you mentally enslaved. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, it's important for us to know, especially here in America, we are Aboriginal Americans, because our identity was stolen. The same thing happened in Europe. The Europeans, the black Europeans, occupied all of Europe. The Irish, the German, the Spanish, the French, all of those were melanated Europeans. You know, and over time, the white people stole the black Europeans' identity. And then once they were successful up there in America, they came here to Europe. I mean, in Europe, they came here to America, and they attempted to do the same thing. You know, now, I know all of this may sound crazy and you know, far out to a whole lot of people, But simply think, just look at anything in Europe. You've got old statues of black people. You got old pubs with black people on it. You know, these ain't slaves. These are prominent black people. Hell, uh, the black Madonna and the black Jesus, black. All of Europe was black. The guy that wrote the Bible, the new translation of the Bible, Sir Charles. Is it Sir Charles? King James, black fella, a black European. You know, the first, and actually this is a correction. Another video I made, I talked about the Bacon's Rebellion and the white niggers. You know, these were Europeans who were low status people who were sent over here by the thousands. These were some of the first indentured people who worked for 7 to 10 years and, you know, on certain farms and plantations. Those were black Europeans. But when I was told that they were European, I instantly thought they was white people. But it's been revealed that these people were black Europeans. Abraham Lincoln, his people were from Germany. And they came here and, you know, mixed. They say they mixed with the Melungeon Indians in Tennessee, I believe, up in the mountains. You see what I'm saying? Black Europeans. So technically, it's always been, I hate to say this, folks, and it fucked my mind up for a couple of weeks, kind of like black on black crime. But we didn't see each other as black people back then. They were European, albeit they was dark Europeans, you know, and we were, you know, of course, dark peoples here, Americans. So the white Europeans who were in charge, of course, because they had taken over the European continent, and of course you had some prominent black people and some, you know, and mostly prominent white, but they sent the black people here. They gave them the king and queen in England allowed for those people, gave them land in Indian territory, and these was black Europeans. These black Europeans were welcomed by the Indians as neighbors, more welcomed than the white Europeans, because they looked alike. You know, you had some intermarrying, you know, and also these people, these plantations that they started, they brought on indentured servants to help work their land. You know what I'm saying? So that's an income source for the Indians. You know, you get a work contract for 7 to 10 years, you know, but that's how it started. But then the Europeans got greedy, and then the indentured servitude turned into chattel slavery because these people weren't being let out of their work contract. You understand what I'm saying? And that's when the lie started. They had made Indian slavery became illegal. And so they said, hey, they're going to change from Indian slavery to West African slavery in name only. We're not African slaves. Okay. Now, I do have other videos. You can go subscribe to the channel, like and share, and also hit when you subscribe, hit the bell, hit the bell and then all, and you'll be send a notification when I make another video go live. But the reason it's so important for you, Black American, to know this is your home continent is so that we can move differently. If you truly know that this is your place, you're going to do things differently, as opposed to having some weird far off thoughts of Africa being home. You understand what I'm saying? You will do things differently here, you know, and that's the goal. So it's not about hate. It's about love and taking back what's rightfully yours. You understand what I'm saying? But in order to do that, you have to do the work. You know, I do teach, and also have a $49 list of, it's about 70 hours of information, video information that you can cut your learning curve in half. You know what I'm saying? Or you can go with the coaching course, to where, you know, we meet 4 times a month for 1 hour a week, and I'll coach you. You know, it's kind of like one-on-one, but it's not one-on-one. It's a video conference. It may be 4 or 5 of us in there at a time, and we go over the same material that you would get for the $49. But by me being a, you know, coach with you, I can kind of help you with you. You're going to go through some downtime. What do I mean when I say that? You're going to go through the 5 stages of grief. And I may mess up these stages, but of course it's just like when somebody a loved one dies. You're going to go through the 5 stages of grief. When my mama died, I went through the 5 stages of grief. When someone in your life died, you went through them too. You may not have known you did, but here, I'll name them. Now, I'll try to name them. Maybe I'll Google it. Let's see if I can Google it real quick. Because I do want to get this right because it's so important. 5 stages of grief. Five stages of grief in order. How about let's go with that one? Okay. I like it when it pop up quick like that. Okay, the first stage is denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. So when I got turned on to this information, I went through those 5 stages, and I'll briefly tell you how I was turned on to this information. Me and my wife, we decided to get rid of some stuff that we didn't need, clean out the garage, so to speak, and we was gonna have a what's one of them little garage sales in front of your house. But we had so much stuff, we was like, let's just take it to the flea market and sell it. And here in Georgia, the movie theater on Moreland Avenue, the Starlight Theater, on Saturdays and Sundays, you could set up a little spot for like $20 and sell what you got. So we did that. There was a guy set up next to us, and I didn't know him from Adam. And he was, we was just talking about whatever stuff going on, current events. And then he said, you know what? He said that the transatlantic slave trade was told to us in reverse. He said you should follow this guy or listen to this guy video named Dane Calloway. He makes videos. And I said, oh, okay, that's interesting, So he sold what he needed to sell. He left, and, me and my wife, we sold what we needed to later on, and we did too. So it just so happens 2 weeks later, I was online and I saw the name Dane Calloway. So I watched the video, and I said, man, this dude's stuff, it's interesting. It made me think, and that's his thing. It says, I'm just here to make you think, right? So it's kind of cool. And so I watched quite a few of his videos, and it really had me thinking. So a few more weeks go down the path, and I do follow Dane Calloway, and I hope that you all will too, because the guy is awesome. His research, this dude, he goes deep into research. I mean, man, you got to get on Dane Calloway's YouTube channel and subscribe. But anyway, a few weeks go by, and then this is another fella's name come up. His name is Kurimeo Aha, Kurimeo first name, and then Aha, Ahaw. Now this fella, he looks to be kind of like a Spanish looking fella. Talks a little funny, spiritual fella. But I tell you, man, his information it added to what Dane Calloway said, meaning it connected. You understand what I'm saying? And this dude's researching chronology, on point, right? So I watched his information, digested the information, then I went to talk to my oldest living relatives. My mother's passed and my grandparents are gone, so I couldn't talk to them. So I talked to my 2 youngest aunties and uncles, and they told me they didn't know anything about Indian heritage in the family. Okay, so then I talked to my 2 oldest living aunties and uncles, and they say, well, yeah, absolutely, we have Indian in our family, and we also have Irish and German in our family. My uncle, he said, we like mixed up like mutts. We got a little bit of everything in us. As a matter of fact, on my grandfather's side, we're Blackfoot Indian, and on my grandmother's side, we're Sioux Indian, and they from Arkansas. So I thought this was just so amazing how everything was just coming together. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know any of this growing up. And so I was talking to my brother. He's a year or so older than me, and I told him, I said, I was growing up, I would look at my grandmama, and she always had a look about her. She didn't look like she was 100% like me, black. She looked like she was might have mixed with Indian. And so I didn't think to ask, and she never said nothing, right? So my brother told me, he said, man, I used to think that too. He said, one day I was in the garden with grandmama and granddaddy. At this time, they had moved from Arkansas, and we grew up in Illinois. And so he was bugging her. He said, Grandmama, tell me about your Indian heritage. You look Indian. You got to have some Indian in your family. You just kept at her. And then finally my granddaddy said, boy, lay up off your grandmama with them kind of questions. We done lost too many people behind it. And he didn't say nothing else after that. I'm like, damn. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So I talked to my oldest auntie again, and I was confused. I said, well, auntie, how is it that you know all of this information, from your Indian grandfather and great-grandfather, and the reservation y'all grew up on? She was laying a lot of stuff out for me. How is it your younger brothers and sisters don't know this stuff? That don't make sense to me. Y'all all did grow up in the same house. I'm confused. And she said, well, let me tell you. She says, my oldest brother, Leroy, was an excellent swimmer. She said he likes to swim so much he would bust the ice in the wintertime. If the lake was froze, he would bust it open so he could get in there and swim. He was that much. He enjoyed swimming that much. He was a good swimmer. But he let slip to white folks, and I guess they had white friends, that he was Indian. They hung him, killed him, and threw him in the river. You understand? And there was also, it was also told to me that her oldest sister let slip that she was Indian, and a couple of grown men raped her and left her for dead in the woods. Now, this auntie lived. I met her when I was a little kid a few times. I was too young to talk, but I remember seeing her. But she never had any children that I know of, and I'm assuming she probably was damaged on the inside. So apparently my grandmama nutted up. She didn't want to lose no more children. You understand what I'm saying? So that made sense to me. And then I did some more digging. In the 1920s, there was this fella named Walter Pleckler in Virginia. He had a high position in statistics. He was over vital records and statistics, birth certificates and stuff like this. He was one of those people who was, I want to say, instrumental, or he pushed very hard for the Racial Integrity Act. Now, the Racial Integrity Act, in a nutshell, made it illegal for black people to say they were Indian. So you being an Aboriginal American, a true Indian, for you to say you're an Indian could cost you your life, or jailed. You understand what I'm saying? So what my grandmother was experiencing was just that. To say that you was Indian was a death sentence. Our people didn't know about this. You see what I'm saying? There were 94 documented Indian wars here in America on all fronts. We fought the French, the Irish, the Germans, the Europeans, the Spanish. These Indian wars, the sole purpose of them was to catch slaves. It was Indian slavery. Indian slavery in America. Sometimes I skip around, but please follow me. You understand what I'm saying? Because our identity has been stolen, and it's been so viciously stolen. I've got to talk to you about this on a regular basis. You understand what I'm saying? So we're gonna do this right now. I'm gonna take a little step back and just I'm gonna pull up two more definitions, and I'll show them to you on screen, or just read them out loud to you. The first one is going to be the year 1828 definition of American. Okay. And then I'm going to pull up another definition. This one I ain't going to say it out loud till I get to that point, because I don't want to spoil it for you. There'll be a little mystery behind this one, okay? All right, I got the second definition. If I can get my hands in my pocket, we'd be doing 100% better. But anyway, okay. Now, I'm gonna ask you a question. Would you say that this 1 cent copper penny is close to my complexion? Yeah? All right. Now I'm gonna read this definition. And this definition was the first definition. And this is from the Webster's Noah's Dictionary in the year 1800. See, explorers, when they came here to the Americas, because there was people who came here who came across our people before Christopher Columbus, and people after him. The description of the people they saw floated around for hundreds of years before it landed in a dictionary is what I'm trying to tell you. So I'm going to read this out loud. It says, American, a noun, a native of America, originally applied to the aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Now, that last sentence, I want you to just put that in the back of your brain. Now applies to the descendants of Europeans or Caucasians, descendants of Europeans born in America. Okay? Now, because that's a big cue as to the identity theft that I was talking about. Okay? Now, the story we was all told, and if you're my age, you probably even remember the movie Roots. Some people call it different. I say Roots. But anyway, the story was they couldn't enslave the Indians because they fought back, they would run away, they knew their territory, and they couldn't be found. So the Europeans went to West Africa and started enslaving black people. I'm sure that's the story you heard because that's the story I was told. And as a matter of fact, the first those first slavery, they say, started here in America with those first 20 and odd Africans in Jamestown, Virginia, in the year 1619. Okay, that was the story, and it was called the transatlantic slave trade, which started in 1619. Right now, that was a cover story for the real slave trade. The name of the real slave trade is called the International Indigenous American Slave Trade. Okay, and here's what that slave trade reads. It says European colonies purchased indigenous people as slaves as part of the International Indigenous American Slave Trade, which lasted from the 15th century, that's the 1400s, into the 19th century, which is the 1800s. See what I'm saying? This slave trade started sooner and lasted longer than the transatlantic slave trade, but we never saw any on those slave ships, did we? You see what I'm saying? Because that was a lie. That was a lie. Just like the guy told me, and just like Dan Calloway proved, the transatlantic slave trade happened in reverse. They took our people from here, just like this definition says, and took us to different parts, even Sierra Leone, West Africa. You see what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, those 20 and odd Negroes in Jamestown, they weren't African. Those folks were Indians. They were pirated off of a Spanish ship. When the European colonies got involved in the slave trade, they created a shipping company to do trading on the west coast of Africa. It was called the Royal African Company. Okay, but it was really, that was a slick cover for a pirating operation. They were pirating Spanish ships. The Spanish was enslaving Indians in the Caribbean islands, you know, in Haiti, Jamaica. Those were black people, not the Indians that you think. You see what I'm saying? And so they pirated those Africans, well, off those Indians, and they said they was African. So when they got to Jamestown, right? So here's proof that those folks were not African. In fact, they were Indians. When the Spanish took slaves, they baptized them. You see? Of those 20 slaves, 11 of their names were recorded. Names like Maria, Juan. You see what I'm saying? They had already been baptized. These were Indians who were baptized by the Spanish, and they were pirated off a Spanish ship. They didn't come from Africa. You see how we've been lied to? You see what I'm saying? And when they took those Africans in, when they took those slaves in, they took them in as indentured servants because they had already been baptized. You see what I'm saying? That was the law. You know, so being they was already baptized, they couldn't be put into chattel slavery. They had to be put in as indentured servants. They were indentured for their service was, so to speak, enslaved for 7 years. So those people probably end up getting their freedom after 7 years, but the laws of the colony did change. They soon after switched to chattel slavery. They wasn't letting these people out of their contracts. You understand what I'm saying? So there was a lot going on there. Now, I told y'all all of that because this is how I got turned on to it. and everything just links up. You know what I'm saying? The lies are exposed, and we all need to know this. So it's not that we hate. I'm not hating on Africanism. Again, I love my melanated brothers and sisters. We're melanated peoples, but we have different phenotypes. We have different hair. You know what I'm saying? Because we are different people. This landmass produced you and I. That African landmass produced Africans. The Australian landmass produced Australians. And for a long time they told us that a lot of us aren't like real dark like Africans. We look kind of again, copper colored because of a lot of raping that went on during slavery. Now, don't get me wrong. It's hard to see a butt naked black woman and not be excited. So there's some fucking going on. But what you fail to understand is when a white man impregnate a black woman, all of them babies ain't going to term. There's a such thing called the RH gene, Rhesus monkey gene. Look it up. You know what I mean? So all of them kids ain't coming full term. And again, we look like this going all the way back past the 18. It's in the dictionary, 1828. We've always looked like this. We've always looked like a brownish, reddish color. Our color ranges in brown from light-skinned, damn near white, to blue-black, mahogany. We're just a range of brown color. And our hair ranges from loose, very loose, straight, like Europeans, so to speak, to kintinati, like our brothers and sisters in Africa. See what I'm saying? So we look African because our phenotype, we're melanated people. And that's what the description says. A lot of people say these people are copper colored and they have very much the Negro in them. So it was easy for these Europeans to pull that wool over people's eyes. You see what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but the Mongolian breed of Asian folks come across the Bering Strait about 12,000 years ago. So they just came on the scene not too long ago. Our people have been here since creation. We're the aboriginals. You see what I'm saying? So it's not so much that the Indians stole our identity. No. The Caucasians have stolen our American identity. We are the only true Americans. Amarukans of Turtle Island. That's who you are. That's who I am. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I talk to people about this. Why I teach this information, because if I could help speed up your curve real quick, then we can make these moves and start to, I hope a good number of people feel the way I feel. I do not want to go to my grave with my children not knowing who they truly are and what belongs to them and who did this to them, so that we can end the system of racism, white supremacy, and replace it with freedom, justice, and equality, the way Dr. Frances Cress Welsing wants. Now, I'm glad I mentioned her name, because I'm going to put her video in the description. All of my videos, I'm going to put her video in my description going forward, because her knowledge on the system of racism, white supremacy helped clear a lot of cobwebs out of my brain. You understand what I'm saying? Because of the system of racism, white supremacy, every black person's brain is mixed up like a Rubik's Cube. But when you watch her video, it'll fix that. It'll fix the Rubik's Cube back to solid colors on all sides. You understand what I'm saying? Very important, very important. So, what I wanted to touch on in this video, I have touched on. I did some study on genetics for the last couple of days, and I saw where the hole is in that theory, the out of Africa theory. And I hope you see what I see. In Africa, they were allowed to dig 2 million years down, and they found the jawbone of a Homo sapien, human. And so automatically you would think the continent of Africa must be the oldest continent, because they found the oldest bones. But we're not allowed to dig in America. We're not allowed to dig in Europe. We're not allowed to dig in Mexico down no past 12,000 years. That's very unfair, because those people know what you're going to find. The American continent was a Negroid continent, meaning melanated people have been here for millions of years. You understand what I'm saying? So, so my hope is that all of my beautiful Aboriginal American people, and even Aboriginal European people, because again, their identity was stolen before our identity was stolen. And they use melanated people against melanated people. When I talked about the Bacon's Rebellion on my other video, Matter of fact, I'm going to talk about it right here now because this is a correction to that video. In that video, I said that white people and black people were on the same even footing. You know, we all worked as indentured servants, and it was like a labor dispute. So here's the correction. Europeans and black people were on the same footing. When I say black people, I mean the Aboriginal Indians who were here. And these Europeans were both black Europeans and white Europeans. Okay? As a matter of fact, I'm going to look up a video real quick. Let me do this because, and I may do a video on this guy because it's real important. It's going to help clarify what I was just mentioning a few minutes ago about the black Europeans. Okay, yeah. And again, this is Kurimio Aha. He did a video, and it was the story of William Ellison, the wealthiest plantation owner in South Carolina. He was a free person of color. Okay? His people came from Europe. He was a free person of color. He was like you and I. But he was a black wealthy slave. I mean, he was a black wealthy landowner, owned slaves in South Carolina. Now, it was a guy, I can't think of his name, but he went around and he made documentations of a couple. It was like a few hundred black landowners or farm owners or slave owners in the South. Those people, I'm sure all of them, if not all of them, had European ancestry. You see what I'm saying? But it's this stuff is we have to get involved and we have to learn this stuff for our kids' sake, if not for ourselves. You know, and again, this information is going to hurt your feelings because you have always thought you were an African American, because that's what Jesse Jackson, in his limited wisdom, allowed them to. Well, he coined the phrase African American, because before that, years and years before that, it was really, black people wasn't trying to be called no Africans. And when I was real young, didn't want nobody to be called black. You know, it's like a crayon color. You don't call me no black. It was derogatory, and it was derogatory, and we didn't know it because black signified slave. You know, because in the records, they had to change how they was doing things with the slaves, because if you was baptized, you couldn't be put into chattel slavery. You could be a indentured servant, but you couldn't be a full-blown chattel slave. So they changed that from baptism being like a way out of slavery. So they said, what can we do because people can lie and say that they've been baptized. You know what I'm saying? So they was trying to figure what could be a more permanent way that we'll know a person is a slave. And they said, black or graduated shades thereof means you're a slave. And I go over that in another video too. So please subscribe, like, share, and hit the bell and hit the all option so that you can be notified. Okay? But yeah, so the Europeans who the poor Europeans who they empty jails out and sent here, I won't say a large percentage of them were black Europeans, poor black Europeans from Ireland, Scotland, and places like that. My people on my father's side, last name Jackson, Jacksons, I believe, originate from Scotland in Europe. You understand what I'm saying? So on my mother's side, Indians, because I told you about my Arkansas relatives, the Blackfoot and the Sioux Indians, and then on my father's side, his people originate from Europe. You know, and I my goal is to teach this stuff as fast as I can to as many people as I can, so we could change our situation here in America. So anybody who's down for this mission, I'm gonna be one. I'm black first, you know, and until Grandmaster Jay is free of these charges and left alone by this racist damn government, I'm going to urge people to support him financially. Support him with your social media posts. Let's get the word out about this racist governmental attack. You know, William Barr created this racist task force 30 days after Grandmaster Jay showed up in South Georgia. The name of this task force It's called the Attorney General's Task Force to Combat Violent Anti-Government Extremism. Grandmaster Jay and the NFAC were not violent at all, not extremists at all. What they are is anti-racism. So that lets you know right there, this government is racist as hell. Okay? Now, the attack on him is an attack on all of us, because we all are fighting the system of racism, white supremacy, which in their eyes makes us all anti-government extremists. And that's very dangerous. This task force cannot stand, because they are not arresting those really extremist white boys that's been taking guns down to the state buildings. Have they? You see what I'm saying? There's obviously two Americas. There's white America and there's black America. And now that I've showed you what I've told you, you now know why there's two Americas. There is the real true America, which is black America. We own this continent, lock, stock, and barrel. White people have an illegal corporation called the United States of America. That's an illegal corporation operating on our soil. You understand what I'm saying? So there's definitely two Americas. And we have been at war since 1492, when they started enslaving our people in the Caribbean islands, Christopher Columbus, who, as a matter of fact, 6 months later, it was decreed by the Roman Catholic Church. Decreed, which means it was declared. They declared war on our people. That war has never been undeclared. That's why they're killing us in the street. That's why they're using biological, chemical warfare on us in our food. You name it, it's against us. And more of us have to get this information so that we could do better. You understand what I'm saying? It's nowhere around it. Absolutely nowhere around it. And that's why we must stand with Grandmaster Jay, because that man stood up. Protective, black male, masculine energy stood up, went to South Georgia and said, hey, what the fuck is going on? That caught the attention of racist Trump and racist William Barr. And they's like, we got to do something about this. And that's exactly what the fuck they did. 30 days later, they created a anti-governmental task force against violent extremists. What the hell is that? You know, black people are not extremists and we're not violent. But we do want to protect ourselves. But every time we have stood up and protected ourselves, this government has killed our men. Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, the list goes on and on. We cannot allow this to happen to this man. He stood up and we're going to stand with him. You understand what I'm saying? That's period, point blank, end of conversation. You don't have a choice on this matter, because you are next. If you don't like racism, you are now a target of the United States of America. You are considered a violent extremist, governmental extremist, believe it or not. If we allow them to take this inch, we're now going to put the United States government on trial for racism. We're going to shine the biggest spotlight as we can on them, because that's where it needs to be. It always should have been on them, but we did not know we should do this. See, everything comes in incremental times. Now is the time. Now is the time. Racism cannot stand up to attention. It cannot stand up to attention. That's why Donald Trump ass is on his way out. He was too blatant and bold, and he emboldened other racist people. And the American underbelly is just too. It can't take it. the sneaky racist white people was like, damn, if this motherfucker could just calm down a little bit and not be so racist, we could do some real good shit here. You see what I'm saying? But that's what the system of racism does. It hides. It lurks in the shadows. It uses a black face to do racist shit behind. Barack Obama, perfect example. They used blackface Barack Obama to kill, I think it was the president of Libya. I forget the man's name. I apologize. I'm having a brain fart. But what was that? I want to say Libya. Gaddafi. The Obama administration killed Gaddafi, and I'm pretty sure, put Obama in that position just to do that, because they had to put a black face on that. You see what I'm saying? To make it seem like it wasn't racist. And that's a goddamn shame. That's a goddamn shame. Even Gaddafi was confused. I saw a speech that he did. He says, Obama, he looks like a black man, but he acts and talks like a white man. This man was confused, and a few months later, his ass was dead. Damn shame. We can no longer allow them to do this. You know? So, people, I hope you understand what I'm saying. We're going to support Grandmaster Jay in our social media posts and with our financial dollars. His legal defense fund, I'm going to put the link in the description for that as well. And, you know, we just got to be about the business, people. You know, be about this business and learn this information because you are the only true American. Okay? And on that note, I'm gonna end this broadcast. You know, again, like, share, and subscribe, hit the bell, and hit all. Also, too, I'm gonna put my Cash App in the description if you can. Again, we are at war, people, and I need a war chest so I can keep this information going out to the young minds. I need to fertilize more and more of my black men's and women's minds so we can forge forward. You know, whatever you can give, it don't matter. And even on Jam Master Jay Fund, you can give whatever you can afford, and you also can make it unanimous. Like, you know, if you don't want people to know you did it, and that's fine. It don't matter about putting your name on it. What matters is this man not being railroaded by this racist government. You know, if Dr. Martin Luther King was alive right now and you had an opportunity to save his life, would you not do it? If Malcolm X was alive right now and you had an opportunity to cut the racist head off of this government and save his life, would you do it? If Medgar Evers was alive right now, would you save his life? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Grandmaster Jay has stood up. Protective male masculine energy has stood up in defense of his people. And the racist United States government has done what it always does. It responds to kill it. Not only in him, but in you too. And in me. And in my babies. We ain't on that plantation no more. They did that. They buck broke those men on the plantations. And they killed masculine male energy. Protective male energy on those plantations. It's not going to happen again. It's not going to happen again. Here's where our hearts have to be. I'm going to my grave behind this. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to my grave behind this. I will not rot in anybody's jail. I'm going to down my feet like a man. I'm committed to this. And I hope you are too. Because your sons and daughters are looking at you. They're going to see, what did you do? What did you do when that man stood up for his people? Did you help him? Were you there? Were you there? Did you help? And they're going to look in your eyes and know if you're lying or not. You understand what I'm saying? This is how serious this shit is, people. I don't know if you've ever thought about this. We at a pivotal point right here, right now. Right here, right now. That's why the mainstream media is silent on this. That's why even the new black media is silent about this. Fear. Fear. And I hate to say it. I'm B1. Black first. And I am part of the new black media. Meaning, my job is to get this information out to my people. We are the grassroots. But I'm so sorry to say what I'm finna say, and I'm not coming against anybody. Because I'm sure everybody has their reasons. And those reasons are based out of fear. But I need for people like the Honorable Louis Farrakhan to stand up with his nation and say, I back Jam Master Jay 100%. Me and the nation. I don't need to, them words don't need to come out of one of his surrogates. It need to come out of his mouth. Our people need to see that strength from him right now. We need that strength from him right now. I hope he hear me. Share this to him. Somebody know him. Somebody he knows somebody on this fucking, who see this video. You know? Jason Black. Professor Black. Dr. Boyce Watkins. All of these people who have platforms and they talk about every fucking thing else on this goddamn sick motherfucking continent. This is the most important thing right now. But for some reason they got their heads in their asses. I was mild and meek about it the other day. I'm starting to get irritated because these people are in the fight. Why do they not see that the William Barr has created a racist task force against our people? I need y'all to speak on this. And if they don't speak, then we're going to speak. The movement comes from the ground up. I'm not waiting on anybody. I'm not waiting on Louis Farrakhan. I'm not waiting on Dr. Floyd, Boyce Watkins. I'm not waiting on Dr. Claude Anderson. I have no patience. They'll come around later. Who cares? Who knows? We need them in this fight because there's strength in numbers. But at the same time, we ain't finna stand still and do nothing. We acting every day now. We use our social media posts and we push this shit out. Share this video to everybody you know. Share it on all your platforms and keep sharing the shit. You make a video. You put that shit out. I'll share it. Use your couple of dollars here or there to support his legal defense fund. Because in protecting him and fighting for him, we're fighting for ourselves. Anybody that speaks out against racism is a target. If you're fearful for saying anything, thinking the federal government going to come after you, then guess what? They already know who the fuck you is. Getting him gives them ammunition to get you. Please understand this, people. You at war, and you have been for 528 years. Please, please, I beg you, be black first. Use your social media posts to bring light on this racist governmental agency that was created 30 days after they saw Grandmaster Jay in South Georgia defending the Ahmaud Arbery situation. Him and the NFAC. They created this racist task force. Tell me that don't make you feel a certain kind of way. Tell me that don't make you feel a certain kind of way. If this is your first time hearing it or thinking about it, it's got to make you think and feel a certain kind of way. If you black, if you have children, grandchildren that are going to be here after you leave, you got to leave them a better place than you are in right now. Okay? Now, I didn't mean to go off on that rant. I promise you I didn't. But this is how I feel about this shit. We all need to stand the fuck up right now. All of us. And on that note, I'm truly going to end this video right now. You know, I love each and every one of y'all. Be black first. And remember, support. Share this video. Like this video. Subscribe. Hit the bell and hit the all thing. Okay? Peace out.